For if it's just another day, live it up, for this loving has got to stay. For if it's just another day, live it up, for this loving has got to stay. For if it's just another day, live it up, for this loving has got to stay. If it's just another day, live it up, for this loving has got to stay.
Here we are at the Woodstock Fruit Festival, and it's an honor to have you here at the rawacademy.tv sharing with us. And Mr. Douglas Graham, you are a medical doctor. And
chiropractic physician.
Could you introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure.
Please.
My name is Dr. Douglas Graham. I live in England at the moment, although I've lived most of my life in the United States. When I was 16, the message of health started to seem very important to me. I hadn't been a healthy kid particularly. I was fit and active, but not particularly healthy. And I started pursuing health in a more serious way. I went to college and studied health. I learned about vegetarianism and switched my diet. I learned about veganism and switched my diet. I learned about raw foods and I switched my diet. Each time I got good results. My clarity of thought, my fitness abilities, my weight management, my sports performance. It just seemed like all the right things were happening, but not to the degree that I would have liked. And eventually I decided to try what I had been taught in school, where I was told that fruits and vegetables are the best foods for us. I said, I wonder what would happen if I just ate the best foods. And for a while, as an experiment, left off the other things, knowing I can always go back to them if I wish. Well, I started eating whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic fruits and vegetables, and everything fell into place. I was happy with my food. I stopped having any kind of indigestion or overeating. Athletic performance, I felt unleashed intellectually. I could remember things in ways that I had always had trouble remembering. My emotions became far more calm and centered. I was needing considerably less sleep. And if I still had health conditions, not really many, they all dissipated and resolved to be things of the past. And I found I was so happy with the food that I really wasn't looking elsewhere for other food. And I've just continued down this path of minimizing my use of fatty foods and maximizing my use of fruits and vegetables. It's just working so well that I don't wish to try anything else.
And did someone introduce you to this new way of eating? How was this process?
Well, no one really introduced me to this new way of eating so much as my teachers in school, who had said, fruits are really good for you, vegetables are really good for you. And so I put my attention on what I was taught in school. I mean, I learned about the nutrition, I learned the science, I learned the health science, the disease science, the sports science. All of these things said that people do better when the fat intake is low and the fruit and vegetable intake is very high. And it's just there were very few people willing to apply that into their life. And I said, I wonder what would happen if I just did it with all raw food. And as I say, the results were so good that I had to tell people about it. I couldn't keep it a secret, and eventually wrote the 80-10-10 diet.
And then you started eating 80-10-10?
Well, when I first went raw, I was trying various types of raw. There's all sorts of raw models out there. There's a model that I call supplement and condiment. There's a lot of spices, salt and pepper and onion and garlic and hot foods and spicy food and stimulating food and cacao and maca and superfood and supplement and very little fruit and vegetable. A lot of things that are bottles and boxes and cans and powders and goo and things that are refined and processed foods, but very little just fresh produce.
It's not alive.
And then there's another kind that I call the fat and grass. And I tried this too, where you eat a lot of nuts and seeds and oils and olives and avocados and durian and all the fatty foods. And I don't knock all the fatty foods. There's a place for all the fatty foods, but not a diet predominated by fatty food, where the second thing they would eat the most of was just salad greens. And I like salad greens. I've eaten probably more salad than any man alive. But if you eat all salad, then you don't have room for much fruit, and so, but you're still hungry because you took in nothing as far as calories, and then you just start eating fat, and we know for sure that this will not work as far as your blood's ability to carry oxygen or carbohydrate to your cells.
And do you think it's necessary to be like strict with the 80-10-10? What about
I don't think it's necessary to be strict with 80-10-10 unless you want to have the results that 80-10-10 can bring. If you're in a relationship with a woman or a man and you're with them 100%, you develop a certain kind of relationship and you get certain consequences. If you're with them 90% of the time but you're sleeping with other people the rest of the time, you're going to have different results. If you want to have the results that 80-10-10 brings, then you follow 80-10-10 100% of the time. But nothing says you have to. I think that if you want the optimum in health, you follow the program optimally. But it's the same with a fitness program. Do you have to be strict? Do you have to train every day? No, you don't have to, but if you don't train, you're not going to make the progress that you would get if you do train.
And do you think there are different paths to different people? Like, for example, other people maybe it's better another kind of diet, and
I think this is a very good question. Nature models examples for us to follow. In nature, we see that lions eat certain foods, and hippopotamus eat certain foods, and ducks eat certain foods, and cows eat certain foods. And pretty much each species of animal has its own special dietary preferences, requirements, recommendations. And I think as a species, so do human beings. As a species, we are designed to thrive on fruits and vegetables. Now, one person might like tomato and another person not like tomato. We don't all have to eat tomato, but we are designed for fruits and vegetables. In the same way that boy cows and girl cows eat the same food, no one is suggesting that boys should eat differently from girls. And the difference between boys and girls is huge. To think that the little differences between one person and another should make a difference in what we eat, I don't think so. I don't see it. I think I will stick with species-specific diet. Our species-specific diet is fruits and vegetables.
And what about genetic differences in our species?
Well, I think this is a very similar answer. We have about 1 million genetic differences from one person to the next. But we have about 250 genetic similarities from one person to the next. I think that the more than 1,000,000 to 1 similarities totally outweighs the little whether your eyes are blue and my eyes are brown. Unless we're going to start saying, well, brown-eyed people should eat certain food, and blue-eyed people should eat other food, and green-eyed people should eat another food, and boys should eat one thing and girls eat another, and if you're over 6 feet tall, then you eat one food, but if you're under 6 feet tall, no.
Then you think that
all cars take the same fuel, and it's simply a matter of how far they drive. If you drive really far, you need more fuel. If you don't drive so far, you need less fuel. But it's the same fuel.
And you think that eating is just about food? What about spirituality or another ways of nutrition? Like sunlight, or I don't know, to me spirituality is like very important in my eating path as well. What do you think?
I think
about
all of the elements of health affect your spirituality. They affect your appetite. They affect your physique. They affect your mindset. I am not obsessed with food. I just eat my fruits and vegetables. I'm perfectly happy with it. I can get on with the things that are interesting in my life. If you're not fit, there's no way to be healthy. If you're not happy, there's no way to be healthy. If you're not, I mean, you can momentarily be unhappy, but you have to remedy this. If you're not eating well, there's no way to be healthy. If you're not well rested, there's no way to be healthy. If you're not getting enough fresh air and sunshine and rest and music, and you're only going to be as healthy as your weakest link. There's no way to be healthier than that. I don't think food plays the total role in nutrition. I don't think nutrition is only about food. Obviously, we get nutrients from sunlight. We get nutrients from microbes. We get nutrients from a lot of different places, and how we hold those nutrients is affected by affects and is affected by our lifestyle. There are lifestyle factors in the air, pollutants and whatnot, that make us blow through certain nutrients like vitamin C. There's lifestyle factors such as stress that affect our utilization of the B vitamins. All of these things are factors in your overall nutrition and health.